Hey guys, happy Sunday. Told you guys I would try to be back to do an outfit change, and I'm actually just going to put Monroe in another sleeper. It's, we're still kind of digging our way out of the snowstorm that we had, but at least the sun is out and like everything's melting. Like the trees are even snow covered, and that's finally starting to melt because the temperature came up above 30 degrees with the sun, so hallelujah for that. But the last couple days it's been in like the single digits, which has made it very hard to kind of like thaw out even my car. But things are looking up. The sun is out. I think we're going to be having a little bit of a warmer trend here for a few days, which will be great. This is the sleeper I'm going to put her in. This is another neck sleeper. It's a beautiful watercolor sleeper. I love it. I've had it since I brought Monroe home. I think I got it right before I got her last year. And I love, love, love. Love, actually it wasn't last year, it was the year before. Oh my God, I'm going on 2 years of having this baby. At the beginning of June this year, she will be 2 years old. Wow, that just hit me. I lose track of time. It doesn't feel like I've really had her that long, so this is kind of a crazy, weird feeling for me. I've never had any doll that I've interacted with. I mean, my Amy Webb, she's just for display only, so it's not the same. Like, but a doll that is somebody, a doll that I interact with, I, have in my videos regularly, handle regularly. Like, it's crazy to me that she will be coming up on 2 years old. That is nuts. Anyway, sorry, I digress. But that's how long I've had the sleeper, and I still, it's one of my favorites. And I don't know, I love little animals on animal prints on things, and these watercolor ones are really pretty. I'm tempted to actually get some watercolor animal prints to put on the walls in here, but I don't know if it'll be too much. I don't know. I often change my mind a bazillion times. But while I'm changing her, I want to talk with you guys about leaving the hobby and how to sustain longevity in the hobby. People ask me this all the time. I literally get this question probably on a weekly basis from not just newer collectors, but even my friends have asked me. Just a huge range of people that have just been curious because I've been in the hobby for so long. 20 plus years is a really long time to stay in one hobby. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's a long time, because if you truly love dolls and you love babies, and this is like the perfect combination of both, then it makes sense that, I've always loved babies my whole life. I've always loved dolls my whole life. I've collected dolls of some sort my whole entire life since I was a child. And so it actually makes a whole lot of sense to me why it would carry over into my adult life. And so for me, it's very natural to want to have some sort of collectible doll or dolls. I have other types of dolls that I have packed away and stored. But overall, the realistic lifelike babies have just captured my heart. And even with all the negativity, I will tell you, because as of late, many of you already know that I've been at the center of one particular channel's attacking, coming after me for my opinions about silicone, for my opinions about basically anything. And so what sparked me to talk about this is the fact that I have been able to sustain my channel, sustain the hobby, still enjoy it, even through many periods of people disliking me, through periods of time where I have been personally attacked by other channels, being talked about. I mean, it's a community of mostly women, not all, but there are mostly women from the time I started collecting. And for some reason, it can become very catty in certain situations. I think that people get really upset. Like, I've watched it all go down, guys. I've watched artists, we talked about the silent auctions and not liking them, or auctions in general, but I have watched artists try to attempt to sell dolls in many different ways. And what's interesting to me is that there is no great way of selling. If a doll artist is popular enough, there's no perfect way to sell. That's kind of the conclusion that I've come to not just now, but a long time ago, just watching artists try to dabble in different ways of trying to sell their dolls in a fair way. And someone always ends up upset, you know? So even though I don't like silent auctions and I don't like auctions in general, I understand why artists are going towards this. I understand that a lot of artists who have tried a lot of other things just feel like they can't make collectors happy. So in the end, is there really any fair way of selling? Nope. But I've seen a lot of fighting and bickering like years ago. So this isn't something new when people start getting kind of after one another. It's honestly, it comes in ebbs and flows. I've seen it back when Romy first started making silicone babies. She was the go-to artist. Everybody could not get on the list quick enough. And I watched people fight and get nasty, and people fighting over dolls at doll shows. Like, I've seen people try to steal dolls. People have been successful at stealing dolls over the years here and there from some sort of, you know, there's all sorts of ways that people are trying to take advantage and, you know, be a scammer. So I've seen it a lot happen. I've also gone through times where I feel like I really didn't want to be a part of the doll community any longer, but never left. I kind of, you know, I've decided that I'm here for the long haul. I'm here because I enjoy it. I'm here because I have a lot of really great friends, as well as acquaintances, as well as just other fellow collectors that share all the same things that I love about this hobby. And so for me, I can tell you, I'm going to give you a few tips. Whether you're new to the hobby or whether you're here, you've been here for a while and you just might be struggling with whether or not you want to stay here or move on and maybe it's not the right hobby for you, I can tell you that when I go through periods of time where I start to question whether this is the right hobby for me, I really just have to take a step back. So if you're doing social media a lot, that has a lot to do with bringing you down. It's easy to get kind of sucked into the crazy doll drama that can occur within the community, and then it becomes almost personal to you, even though it's not. So a good friend has reminded me recently that all of this stuff that we do on social media, whether it be on Instagram, whether it be on YouTube, it's all really just what we make it. It's not real life. It's just, this is what we've created to share our hobby. So really, when you turn off the camera or you close your laptop or you get off your computer and you stop watching videos, you stop and you disconnect from all of the crazy happening out there, things settle. You kind of get your perspective back. Like, this is just a tiny, tiny piece. What I share is just, it's a tiny piece of my life. It's not really me. Most people, if I don't talk to you on a daily basis or regular basis, you probably don't know me that well and probably don't know a lot about me. I share what I want to share on my channel, but I am also a very personal person, and I do keep a lot to myself because I need to keep my sanity in order to always constantly move forward and enjoy the hobby. It has to be fun for me, and I think that there are a lot of collectors out there that struggle with that because they want to be helpful, and I feel that too, because when my friends get dragged into some sort of drama, I want to help them. That's my first natural instinct, is to want to reach out and help. But that being said, I want to be a supportive person, but I also have to keep in mind, how is this going to affect me? How is it going to affect my enjoying the hobby? And that's something you really have to take into consideration. There are a lot of people that go to bat for their friends, and I think that that's wonderful. But you also have to make sure you're keeping it about you and what makes you happy, and limit maybe what you put yourself in the middle of, I think would be good advice. I'm not saying people shouldn't stick up for one another, because we are a community and we should always stick up for one another, especially if we see bullying happening, people being attacked. I'm all about sticking up for people. But you have to kind of pace yourself. And sometimes you have to take a step back and take a break. That's kind of the biggest thing. And I've taken several breaks. People don't know it when I take a break, but you'll see less of me. And that could be because I just need a break from the hobby, or I have personal things happening that take me away from, creating videos and spending time with my dolls. I mean, life happens and life is always my priority. So people that tend to have a lot less going on in their real lives tend to spend more time, I've noticed, on social media. I don't have a lot of time to spend on social media. Maybe when I retire someday, I will have a lot more time to spend and I'll be more engaged in the community. That very well could be. It depends on the stage of life we're all in, right? I mean, let's face it. If you have a full-time job, you have kids, you have a household, you have a significant other, that needs to be your focus, not your hobby on a daily basis. Like, I have a very busy job that keeps me very driven and takes up most of my time in my life. And like I said, when I retire someday, it'll be great to focus more on the hobby and things like that. But for now, it's just in the bits and pieces of time that I can allow and fit into my day or week on a given basis. Like every week is different for me, how much time I may have to spend. And it really varies based on my work schedule. It's based on things happening in my personal life with my family. So I think that longevity in this community, in this hobby, really is about a balance. It's got to be balanced. It's got to work so that you're not overwhelmed. You're not doing too much that feels like you're being really drained, because this can be very draining when you pour your whole heart and soul into a hobby and you're doing it constantly and you're making videos every day or even multiple videos all day long. It takes a lot out of you. You might not really see it at first, but I have noticed that when I have spent long hours like just doing doll stuff, I withdraw after that. And I will tell you the most recent example of that is that when I was interviewed for the upcoming the doll, I guess it's a video. It's a video, but it's written. It's what I was interviewed for that'll come out in both newspaper, print, as well as in video. So however you want to put that in a category, it's kind of in both. But I spent literally all day long with Monroe, handling Monroe, holding her, talking about the hobby, talking about dolls, talking about all the things that he wanted to know about our hobby. And though it was great, I literally felt like I needed a break from the doll world for that next week after that. Like it was very overwhelming to me. And for me to keep that healthy balance, I know when I feel overwhelmed that I just take a step back. I don't think I spent a moment in this nursery with the dolls after that because it was too much for me. I noticed I did that after I went to the Rose Doll Show as well, that I felt very overwhelmed. I actually sold a lot of my dolls after I went to Rose Doll Show just because I was overwhelmed. I just didn't like how it made me feel. That's how I handle it. And so in order to keep that balance of me being happy and having that constant draw to come back and handle and pick up and change my dolls, it is a delicate balance for me. If I spend too much time, I kind of get a little bored and I get kind of sick of it. It's time to take a step back and maybe not go in the nursery for a few days or even a week. And then that feeling then want and urge to see Monroe and see the babies, that comes back. And luckily that's been a good way for me to be able to figure out what works for me. And everybody's different. So I'm only shedding some light on how I have managed over the years not to get worn out, not to get sick of it, not to get bored. I mean, part of that is a change up of dolls. Obviously, I have managed to somehow stay pretty darn content with one main baby and now an additional one, which is really rare for me, and I'm enjoying it, and I hope it doesn't change, but tomorrow it could change, and I might feel the urge that I suddenly need more dolls coming into my nursery. That is also the joy of this hobby. We evolve, we change, our tastes change, and we may completely turn our hobby upside down and our collections upside down from one day to the next, seeking out something perhaps new and different to spice up, the fun of the hobby. It's just we all collect differently. We all collect in our own ways. But it's important to just remember to do the things that make you happy. You are the one spending your money. You're the one, that you need to make happy, not for somebody else, not because someone's judging you or telling you should do something. This hobby is really all about our each individual joy, our each individual preferences, and whether it's, because could be the unpopular choice. I apparently fall sometimes into that unpopular category of liking things that nobody else does, and that's okay. I don't want anybody out there to feel like they ever have to collect a certain way or a certain type of doll or anything of that nature if it doesn't truly speak to your heart and because someone else suggested it. And that's part of the learning curve as well, is doing what we need to do to make ourselves happy. So I encourage everybody to just kind of, when you get those moments where you feel like you're losing interest and maybe you want to bow out of the hobby, that might be the right choice, or it might just mean that you need to take a step back and just give yourself some time. And a lot of collectors do this. I've seen many collectors leave permanently. I have seen many more step back and take a break and then come back at a later time after they've had time to just kind of do other things. But for most true collectors, I think that the doll hobby, especially these dolls being so beautiful, it eventually draws most of us back. So even though it might be really healthy for you to take a break, you may come back. It might be a year, it might be a couple years, who knows? Depends on your stage of life. But always keep an open mind to it. That's all I'm saying. And hopefully maybe some of the suggestions I've shared you might find helpful. I hope they are. I've got little Monroe here who is looking absolutely adorable. I'll turn her around so you guys can actually see her face a little better. But yeah, I just want everybody to find their happiness within the hobby. I really think that it's important for everybody to enjoy every way that they can and get the most out of the hobby. And I know it can be an overwhelming place with all the social media, with everything going on, people kind of bickering here and there. But really, when you take a step back and you realize what the hobby is here for, it really is purely for our enjoyment. And so we make it what we want to make it. So if you keep it positive and kind of try to avoid some of that negativity, maybe not take it to heart. Trust me, it's hard sometimes, I know. But being the bigger person and rising above some of that negativity will probably take you leaps and bounds as far as longevity in the hobby goes. So that is my best advice for people. So for all of those many people that have asked me, thank you for asking me about it. I appreciate that people actually care about my opinion. And hopefully the things that I've shared in the video are helpful. And if they're not, that's okay too. But here's Monroe. She's gonna hang out today in her pajamas. I don't know if I'll change Eloise or not, or if I'll wait and maybe change her tomorrow because I work from home tomorrow, and maybe do a video of me changing her. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy your Sunday. The sun is actually out, so I'm very thankful for that. I hope you guys are all having great weather where you're at, and thank you as always for watching. All right, bye-bye, guys.